short two members today. They're on vacation. So we're going to defer approving the minutes from the previous meeting since Mr. Cicero was away from the last meeting.
We won't say where.
He was in Hawaii. At this point, we'll accept public comment from any active application currently before the board. Comments must be directed to the board. If comments are relative to an application with a scheduled public hearing, please hold those comments until the public hearing. Speakers must speak from the podium, provide their name and address to the clerk, be recognized by the chair, and speak into the microphone. Comments are to be held 3 to 5 minutes per speaker. Comments requiring longer time should be submitted to the board in writing for the board's consideration and placement into the applicant's files. Is there anybody here that would like to speak to the board? Yes.
Carol Garden from Kennedy Road. At the last town board meeting, they said that this board should be asked.
Carol, could you speak into the mic? Is it on?
Let me make sure it's on. Better work better now.
At the last town board meeting, they asked why you wanted 2 more people on the board. And one gentleman did from the audience. The board told him, the supervisor, to ask you. I don't see why you need 2 more people on there. I presented a letter, and it's going to be in the minutes of tonight, so think about it.
The supervisor said to ask us.
Yep.
Yeah.
The reason why you need 2 more people. You had it years ago, and they got rid of them. It's added expenses, and the town doesn't need. It may not be that much, but every penny counts. So just think about it.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just note that we received the letter and I gave a copy to the clerk.
Yeah.
That's-
Can we forward that to the town board as well?
Yes. You know,
Anybody else want to address the board? We'll close the public portion of the meeting. First item on the agenda is Syracuse label and printing. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. I'm Mark Chambers with CNS. Since the Christmas planning board meeting, the board tasked us with basically finalizing the project, working out the issues, concerns with the drainage system, things like that. Since then, we've worked through with the town's engineer, came up with a plan that works, and we'd like to move forward with the project. Yeah, how you guys?
Have you seen the comments from the fire department, North Syracuse Fire Department?
It's not.
They're fairly recent. There's 2 things that they mentioned there. One of them was that either the addition of a second lockbox or moving the current one. Mark, have you seen it?
I do recall seeing it. I think there was something relative to.
I can read through it.
Yeah.
This is from I think it's the assistant chief. They reviewed the 12119 site plan for Syracuse label. One item we would like to see is either the addition of a lockbox on Coswell Street side near the sprinkler connection, or move the existing lockbox to the other side of the building. It's got to do with quick access and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So they're looking for one of those 2 things. And they also want to make sure that the addition will be connected to the sprinkler system.
The addition will be connected to the existing sprinkler system that's there now, yes. And I can't speak for Syracuse label, but I don't think that would be a problem, Jeff, with
It's
the
not a problem.
moving of the lockbox.
So we're gonna move it? Not add it?
I'm sorry, add one.
Go ahead.
That would be better.
You can add one?
Yes.
Perfect. Those were the only 2 things that you brought up. Mark, how are you? We all set?
Yes. Yeah. We reviewed plans and don't have any issues with them.
Any questions or comments from the board?
The only comment I have is we happen to have gone to the facility as a part of our highway garage piping system. If all of our commercial property looked like your property, it would be beautiful. I mean, the place is spotless. The mechanical room didn't have stuff sitting in the corner. And we, of course, love the piping system, so we are in fact going to incorporate that in our highway garage. But if you do with the rest of your building what you've done so far, we think it's great.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, as we mentioned last time you were here, it's a great success story, and we're happy to have you in town, more jobs. Steve, have you got anything?
I'm all set.
Neil, you all set?
All set.
Would you prepare a motion for approval, please?
Yes, first we're gonna do our secret motion.
I propose our standard seeker.
I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Please show the motion that carrying unanimous.
Can you stop for 1 second? Neil, is this where you'll write who would be the approved and seconded person?
Just for, made the motion, which Mr. Cicero seconded, and then unanimously passed.
Okay, so Mr. Cicero made the motion, seconded by Mr. Snyder. And then, go ahead.
Okay, you're gonna move for the adoption of a resolution approving the application on a Syracuse label and surround printing, 200 Stewart Drive, proposed building expansion. This approval is strictly conditioned on the following. One, the color schemes and renderings and or elevations presented by the applicant to the planning board in regard to this application to be incorporated by reference into the site plan and the board's approval thereof. Accordingly, the actual project must substantially conform to the items as presented herein. Two, the applicant's site plan indicates a projected increase in the average water flow of 150 gallons per day. The planning board recognizes the need to mitigate or offset the increased stress in the sanitary sewer system, and in accordance with the town's policy regarding said offset and or mitigation requires a payment of $4 per gallon, or in this case $600 to be paid to the town. Said payment shall be due and payable before the order of the issuance of any required permit or 30 days from the approval hereof. 3, the planning board reserves the right at any time to verify the actual water flow to verify that it conforms to the projections supplied by the applicant. Next, the applicant shall comply with modifications 1 and 2 as set forth on the resolution of the Onondaga County Planning Board, case number Z1911. Lastly, the applicant will add a lockbox on Cogswell Street per the fire department's recommendation.
And that's in the form of a motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Please mark it as unanimous. Congratulations, good luck with the addition. Next item on the agenda is United Rentals. Tim Boyer, will you represent the applicant? Good evening, Tim.
Good evening, employer, I am Eugene Romans. We're looking, this site plan is at the old Sportsman Suzuki at the corner of East Taft Road and Cotton Road.
Can you start before just 1 second?
Yes.
Sorry, different.
No problem.
Okay, please start. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
The existing site is 8 acres. We're not proposing any new structures on the site. They're looking, United Rentals looking to rent out half of the existing building, basically the northern 3,800 square feet and the existing full metal garage here. They're looking to store their and run their rent unit for their scaffolding rentals out here. They're going to put up a proposed wood fence along Topman Road here with their 4x4 by 12 foot scaffolding units out in here with a chain link fence with a 16-foot gate on the south side right in here, so nobody will be able to get into this area. They are proposing to add a sign that we have a detail up here, out here, utilizing the existing sign that's sitting out on the site right now. All of the existing access is going through the existing driveway right here. They're going to propose, let me get my number right as far as parking. Total 11 parking spaces in here. They're going to have roughly 5 employees at the site at any given time. We do show that they have potential of 32 potential parking spaces out here. I just showed that so that when and if this front space ever gets leased out or rented out, that there is more room for more parking and more expansion out there with the existing pavement, just to show we don't really have to expand any of the pavement for the future. They're not expanding any of the existing gravel. Basically, like I said, all they're looking to do is add the fence to tighten up the gravel area and the sign on the existing sign that's sitting out there. No changes to the existing building, no proposed landscaping, no proposed lighting, no proposed utilities. Pretty much just get in there and go.
Do we know, is there an existing site plan for this?
It's from a long time ago. It does not show this building to the north, okay? If I don't have a copy with here, but I remember looking it up.
Where are we with it encumbering into the buffer?
So we have talked to DEC to try and find out, basically what we've been looking at is we're trying to put the fence in the buffer area. We're just trying to make sure that that's okay. We're not proposing anything else in the buffer.
Isn't the building in the buffer?
The building is in the buffer, yes. Well, according to the online scans. But that,
You're not proposing any expansion of the building?
we're not proposing any expansion of the building, no proposed expansion of the parking. Again, the only proposed permanent quote-unquote structure is the fence that we're looking to put in the buffer area.
So if it's existing, it's fine.
It's already existing. They're not gonna modify your buffer. If they modify it or expand it, it's a different story.
Tim, the existing gravel,
Yes.
if I look at Google Maps,
Yep.
it's not showing the same thing that I see there today. And it looks like there's been recent modification.
Do we know when that gravel was put in?
New gravel was added, I think over the summer, over existing gravel though.
It looks like it got closer to Tubman Road.
I don't know.
You want to come up for a quick second?
Okay.
Just give your name so that I'm sure that I can
Hi. Mike R. Curry, Syracuse Realty Group. I represent the owner of the property. And when he bought it, there was gravel there, and then after he bought it, he added additional gravel. I don't think to any place new, he just put it on top of existing gravel.
Can you verify that for us? Because it looks like it's changed.
I can't verify other than what I've seen before and then what it looks like now.
You could ask whoever placed the gravel there and go back and verify if it's changed. I mean, there's somebody who could provide that verification. Because gravel was there and then new gravel came after that, so somebody's got to know the extent of it.
It's certainly
Yeah.
different than what Google Map is showing.
Okay.
You may not be able to personally, but as an applicant, you could run down that detail.
Well, I could ask the owner of the property.
And is there a description of the storage units that are going to be something, I want to know what it's going to look like from the road? They're 12 foot high, you got a 6-foot fence in front of them, so
Yes.
something's going to be sticking 6 foot up above.
Basically, what are the racks, you're putting your rental scaffolding on? What are the-
Yeah, they're,
Can you write your name, please?
This is Mr. Peter.
John P. Motley, Marylands.
Okay.
So it's actually not 12, it's 9.
Oh,
They're-
9.
I think the racks are wrong, but they're 4 foot by 4 foot, we call pin racks. Each pin stands about 3 feet, and we lay our scaffold components in those racks and then stack 3 up. So it's actually 9 foot, which is the total height. But it's all stored neatly in there so we can pick it, put it on trucks and deliver it.
Do you have that anywhere now locally?
If you guys are aware, I don't know if you're aware of the old NES Reynolds building on Hiawatha Boulevard. They closed us, I used to run that store, United bought it, closed it down, and then they moved a lot of the scaffold down to Pennsylvania. We were supposed to get a hub, what they call hub and vessel. I kind of fought against that because Syracuse was the best place to put it. So some of the scaffold that you might have seen down there when we were down in Hiawatha was on the left side towards Van Rensselaer, but it was all neatly stacked.
It's not there now?
No, sir, they closed it. I have,
Do you have a picture that you might be able to
did I send you a picture?
I can check my email.
I can check my phone. I know I took a picture of something that, right now, United Rentals has two facilities in Syracuse right now. One is on Schuyler Road.
Yeah, I looked at that one, I didn't see them there.
Right, when they shut me down back in October of 2017, we moved some of it over there, not all of it. But I took a picture of some of the stuff over there. Most of the material went down to Wilkes-Barre. That's where we had to send it.
Just
I was trying to bring it back.
send me the picture and I'll provide it to the board, that's all.
Okay.
What if the racks are in 3-foot increments?
Mhm.
What's the possibility of having only 6 foot high so the fence hides all of it?
Well, the only problem with that is the amount of material I have and the amount of yard I need, because I have a tractor trailer that comes in, and we have to be able to maneuver around the yard. So that extra height gives us more capacity to store. Now, I am storing a lot of stuff inside, which is one of the reasons why we got this facility, is that cold storage spot on the north side. I mean, what I can try and do is on the back side of the property, go up to 9 and try and keep the Topman side at 6. I can certainly try and do that, absolutely.
Yeah, I think the plan does refer to it as 12 foot.
Yes.
That was my original thought was they were 4-foot high racks. I actually measured them to 3-foot high racks. They're 4 foot square, but they're only 3 foot high.
So I'll have to change that.
Yeah, this says 4x4 storage rack, but it doesn't say the height.
So 12 somewhere.
It says 12 and the notice, it says a max of 12 feet, but I'll have to change that to 9. I think it says it over here.
This is on the plan I see.
Yeah, so the proposed storage rack will be at a max height of 12 feet, so I'll have to change that to 9.
Tim, the fence, how close is that to the power lines?
Oh, to the power lines up front, roughly 12 feet.
12 feet there?
You can see we give an offset of 10 feet from the property line to where the fence will be, and then the pole line is running roughly 2 feet off the road boundary.
And so the stone goes right up to the power lines at this point?
Yep, right up to the road boundary. Just not quite up to the pole, but yes.
I'm wondering if we need that there, number one, and number two, I think there should be some landscaping along there on this side of the fence. I don't know the rest of what things. And in fact, that was something the county had mentioned, some landscaping.
They did.
Do you guys have any thought on landscaping there?
Well, it's kind of a busy corner. I think if we can, make it look presentable. I mean, right now, it's a lot of pavement and wide open area.
So, since I'm the client gets here, do you understand what they're asking?
For landscape along Topman?
They're looking to, and forgive me if I'm wrong, Mark, remove some of the gravel area that'll be between the proposed fence and the road here and replace it with some landscaping.
Isn't there a ditch, a drainage ditch right along here?
I think that there is in front of the pole line, but, correct. But this is where all the
I think
gravel
it's
is.
pole and ditch and then,
Okay.
yeah. The poles are on the roadside of it.
So this area right here. See where the gravel?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a problem with
Just a question, we putting those, that storage, you couldn't go along the back of the site?
it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put stuff on the back too. This is a fairly large operation of ours.
Yeah.
We're the largest scaffold house in New York State. So we run operations out of Buffalo, Albany, And this is just the scaffold side of United Rentals, and United Rentals is huge. So, but Syracuse is going to be a primary scaffold supplier for the entire state of New York. So I will, yes, I will be, I'll do everything in my power to stack 3 high in the back so that I keep the top and side down as much as I can. It really depends on how much material I get when I get inside the building. And then I'll focus on the back first, and then along the wood fence, keep it down to 6 feet.
So you know what we're looking for. We want to know
Yes,
what it's going to look like, some pictures, what we can do with some landscape along that fence.
Yep. I guess when you stand outside the fence, and let's say it's gonna be 9 foot high, am I looking at scaffolding sitting there? Am I looking at a solid piece of material that's on that last 3 foot, so it looks like it's actually fence anyway? I mean, am I looking at beat up scaffolding, painted and concrete on it and stuff like that? I mean,
No, sir. This is what we call system scaffold. It's galvanized metal. The pin racks, it's not just thrown in there haphazardly.
I didn't need a strong, I'm saying, as the people drive by, I'd like to see what a picture of, here's what it's gonna look like when they drive by, and instead of 4 feet, there's actually, 100 feet of it, that's okay, but at least, you can see what the public's gonna see, before it's there.
Yeah, we're gonna provide a picture of what the scaffolding looks like as it sits on the ground for the next meeting.
Did you say you were going to keep it to 6 feet? Because I thought it says 12, you're going to change it to 9, and you're going to keep the storage racks.
Well, what I was saying is I could, along the back as best as I can, I'll do the high storage in the back at 9 foot, and I'll try to do as best I can down top. It really depends on how much, I've got about, out of Wilkes-Barre, I'm going to be yanking about 10, 12 truckloads of material up here. I'll try and keep as much inside, because we try and keep our stuff dry, especially when it rains in the wintertime for obvious reasons. But the outside is going to be the bulk of the storage. And the pin racks is the way we store the scaffold.
Now, the whole site isn't fenced in, though. I mean, your area where your truck's gonna be, where your equipment's gonna be, that's, the only fence we're gonna have is the new fence with the opening and then the along top of it?
Correct.
Correct.
This is not something that people like to come in and,
Well, you're going to have a hard time moving that stuff, unless you've got a forklift to do it with, or, but the back is all wetland, so you're really not going to get in there. There's really no way you're going to get into the site.
Well, you have a chain link across the front.
Correct, yeah. It'll be secure from anybody driving in from Topman, trying to get in that way. You'd actually have to come in through the wetland somehow and track in through all that to get back in there.
Were you going to say something?
Yeah, any height requirement that we're talking about for storage or whatever, as best I can, it's not an enforceable standard. You might want to put a standard if you're worried about the height of anything on the actual plan, a max height.
Right. Right now, I have it as 12, we're changing it to 9 max height.
Okay, so as long as it appears on the plan.
Yes.
well, but
We want to
he
see
said
what
in
it
the
looks.
back, he might be 12 in the back, so.
No, 9 would be the max.
9 would,
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
just
sir.
don't want you
He's
to.
gonna try to max out the bag at 9 feet, as many
Okay.
piles as he can to keep it from going over 6
Well,
feet.
you know what's coming, I guess I don't want you to have to come back here and say, by the way, I underestimated and I do need the back part at 12 because of what they've shipped me.
No, you can't go to 12 really, because 3 is your max height for safety reasons.
Okay.
If you go to 12, you're starting to get into some tipping issues, and we won't go that high.
Okay.
So that's a company standard, and it's enforced pretty strictly.
So are we saying 6 along the fence?
We're gonna try for 6 along the fence.
That's what the plans were showing?
Yes.
Are we gonna try to put some landscaping, I I look at the drawings and, I see grass and that's all, I don't see a flower pot or nothing.
Yeah, we're gonna add some landscaping.
So the front 30, I'm sorry, front 5,700 square foot, that's going to be for a future tenant?
Future tenant, I believe they would have to.
The board has in the past approved things like this based on typical retail or office type space. I could tell you, I've already had inquiries about the uses that I would recommend to come there, you know, so.
What's your call?
Yeah, depending on what it is, but if you want to discuss that now, as part of this approval, what you know, what's acceptable, I mean, that would be,
Don't you think we'd ask for more landscaping for this front piece, but we obviously not gonna ask this tenant to deal with it, but I
That was
would
gonna
think
be my point.
we want our 2 cents in on the landscaping for the front, because that's even more visible than we're talking about now.
That was my point. So do we want to address that now, or would you rather address it when a new tenant comes in?
Let me, we'll talk to our client and see how they want to address it.
Tim, somewhere, I don't remember where I saw, but with the parking, it said 10, but.
It says,
10, but it wrote 11. Just a.
No, that's the typo, it should be. Yep.
Well, it's because we added a trailer, it makes it 11, so it really is 10.
Well, there is a typo, it says 10 and then I have parentheses 11, it's just a typo.
Anybody have anything else at this point? Joe? Steve, you all set?
yes, for now, yeah.
Neil, you good for now? Good. Mark?
I guess the only thing I'd recommend is that we do get something from the DEC relative to the need or no need for a permit. I think you said you're talking about the fence.
Yep.
I know, I think on the Massey project, which is directly adjacent to this site, you also showed some sort of delineation as to where you were developing. And Mark, I do agree with you relative to the aerials show that there's been some sort of expansion of the gravel area since whenever those photos were taken to now.
Something I probably would not have approved.
Yeah, well, it's something that may need to be perfect. So they probably do need to do some sort of delineation as to where the limits of the development are, or will be approved by the DEC, and something similar to what was done on the basic property.
Okay.
Do you know, is there a dating on those Google Maps?
There is. But it's
The
only
date
like
is
yearly.
2019.
I think that goes yearly.
Well, I think the copyright's different necessarily than the date on the phone, because it's tough to say, but it's probably within the last 2-3 years, at least, that it's something that's standard. That's what it looks like.
There's been some recent movement of gravel, recent.
Yeah.
On the sign, you show, big sign top, United Rentals, and then you show at least on this drawing, there's another sign located below it. Is that something you guys are thinking about you want, or?
I think it's a reader board, right? Visual board?
There's a visual, and it says on there that we're not going to use it at this time. It's just, we just want to show what's there. So again, if and when someone comes in, we can show what they want to use it, if they want to use it, but it's not going to be used for this use. This specific tenant.
Which is another reason I think, Mr. Chairman, why we'd want to see what happens in the front half, because the sign would obviously, we'd want to look at the sign, so however we got to do it, such that we're able to look at the.
So moving forward, the next tenant, we'll probably have to come in for site plan approval. And it all depends on what they're going to be using the building for, too. That'll dictate.
You could probably just add anything else.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
It's gonna be on your plan of future.
Okay.
Tim, you have anything else?
I don't have anything else, but our applicant is eager to get in there and start getting things going. He's just curious as to what he could possibly start at this point, if anything, to kind of get the ball rolling as far as trying to use the building. And is that a coach question or is that a board question?
I'm being told nothing.
Okay,
It's not a good question.
thank you.
All right,
That's all.
thank you.
Thank you.
That's the last item on our agenda. We got board discussion. Neil, have you got an update with the letters that went out?
Yes. I sent out letters on or about January, pursuant to the board's request, on about January 17th, and requested that the planning board attorney, that the applicant provide us with some information, or that we would deem their application abandoned or withdrawn. A copy of those letters have been placed in the various files. These are for files that have basically been ignored by the applicant for some months now, some of them beyond 6 months. At this point, I requested that they respond to us if they wanted to have their application not to be considered abandoned or withdrawn by February 1st, 2019. We're beyond that date, and I have had no response whatsoever from any of these applicants. So the applicants have received the correspondence. It was, I can tell you the applicants right here, it's Stephen Stasko, Luann Martin, CEA Holdings. So at this point, you will be free to consider a motion to declare the applications to be abandoned and withdrawn based on the fact that they were given notice and then failed to respond to that notice.
Steve, you also had no
I have not.
indication from the same people, right?
Right.
Beyond that, they've been sitting idle for a long time, months.
Some of them, 6 months more, with no new information or no effort to pursue their applications that I know of. I think that they've had the application been hanging out there, and we've contacted them and asked them to, move along, but it seems that they're not interested in furthering their applications.
I would agree.
Just to close the file, shouldn't we now send them a letter that, if we all agree and vote on it, shouldn't we send them a letter that said it is done, it is finished?
Well, it'll be done when you vote. They've already received one notice that says this was their deadline, they didn't make the deadline. But we can certainly supply them with a copy of the minutes showing that the motion was made and their application has been abandoned. Or I can just simply send them a letter saying, be advised that, on this date pursuant to the letter that you received, your application has been considered abandoned. And by the way, nothing in that, and it was stated in the letter, would prevent any of these applications from starting a new application. There's no prejudice really to the applicant.
We've been more than fair.
It just cleans up your agenda.
Could you prepare a motion to?
Yes, you're going to move for the adoption of a resolution declaring the following applications to be abandoned or withdrawn. Site plan application, Stephen Staskos, 9620 Brewerton Road, proposed commercial office building. Site plan application, Luann Martin, 5576 Mudville Road, proposed used car dealership. Site plan application, CEA Holdings, Inc., 9155 Brewerton Road, proposed agricultural.
That's in the form of a motion.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Please mark the motion's carried unanimously.
I will send out the correspondence that informs them that this is what happened.
Yeah, I guess if you say, and, they were closed without prejudice, so they, just, again,
Of course, yeah, and that was in the first letter sent them that, they'd be free to restart an application anytime. They file new applications. But from a practical standpoint, if they wanted to move forward, they
We would have heard from
would have over the past,
It's all. Judy, our liaison.
Good evening.
good evening.
I spoke with Ms. Marzillo, and I wanted to bring to your attention I was told there were 20 applicants, but there's really only 14 that have applied for the ad hoc position. Have you been apprised to these applications, Mark? Okay, well, I have made copies because I asked for them, obviously, prior to this meeting. And there's some, real strong applications there. I'd like to make a statement in regards to what was discussed at the town board meeting, as Ms. Pardee had brought up, that the supervisor, I had no knowledge of it, so the supervisor had brought up the fact that the reason for his suggestion for the 2 new planning board members was to encourage and also help to educate for a possible new chairman. That was his statement.
And that's fine with me, because I told Mark that I did not want to do this long-term.
I understand that, but I don't.
And he needs to find somebody.
Right, but I don't think that, in my opinion, I don't think that we need to bring on new members to find a new chairperson. That is obviously my opinion, and I was never asked prior to, so I'm making that statement right now, but I think that all of your board members really need to have a discussion on this, because I think that you have a very strong board, and the more people in the pie, it makes it more difficult to come to a decision.
Judy, my perspective is that we have an elected body and an appointed body, and they are separate for a good reason.
Exactly.
There are times when the town members is up to you. And whoever you want to appoint, it's up to you. If you want some advice or input from me or anybody up here, I'm sure we'd all be willing to provide that. But that's a town board decision, and that's what's going to stay.
Exactly, I agree, as a town board decision, that meaning all 5 members. And, but also, I wanted to ask Neil, does the recommendation come from the planning board as to
No.
the town board?
It's a town board decision, the town board, these boards are supposed to be completely independent.
Exactly.
And so even getting up and making this speech, probably not such a good idea involved with the independence of the 2 boards, because these boards are supposed to be independent. You are an independent board as the town board is. And there's kind of a line drawn between them. So it's completely a town board decision as to how they want to handle the manning of the staffing of the planning board. There are certain areas where the planning board would give recommendations to the town board, like a zone change. But those things are set forth in statute. This is not, this
Right.
isn't one.
Well, and I guess I'm saying this in discussion, because I was confused, and I had no idea
That's
about
fine.
it.
It's a very confusing area.
It is.
Well, and I understand that.
Yeah, because your role is a liaison, but you're supposed to be an independent
Right.
board. So there's a lot of spots where, it gets to a gray area, and so, but you're not required to make a recommendation from to the town board as far as, whether or not it should be 5-7. You could, make it, you could have your own opinion on it, but the town board is not required to seek a recommendation or follow it.
Okay, right. And again, that was
Yeah.
my reason for asking,
Yeah, no,
because
I-
I'm trying to stay separate, but
Yeah,
I'm involved.
It's
So.
a difficult one.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
There's a political world and an administrative world. We're administrative.
Well, and I think I'm in the administrative. Do you want these? I made copies of everything.
We talked earlier, I thought it was nice for the board to know that there were
There's
a lot of people interested.
everything there but one more, because I asked that came in today. So I'll forward that to you. But that came from the HR person. One other question. Does the, and this is a question, does the planning board make the decision on who they're going to interview? Doesn't it come from them? No?
It's all,
It's a recommendation?
it's basically staffed up above at your level, not ours.
All right. There you go.
Thank you. Steve, have you got anything?
There is a question that's come up recently regarding, if you may recall back in December, I think we had Topo Lodge in here for the car wash
Yeah.
application, and part of that application, they were proposing a monument sign. I think at the time the board decided they wanted it, since it wasn't on that site, they wanted it separate and apart from the application for that car wash. So I've since been asked, how can we get a monument sign for the development? I think there's two proposed that would be on the Cicero
On the
side.
Cicero side?
Yeah, maybe one, possibly two on the Cicero side. That would be along Legionnaire Drive, I think, at least one of them. Across the road, I think it was from the car wash that was being proposed. The monument signs, the zoning office can't issue a permit for a monument sign. It has to be, those can be approved at the discretion of the planning board. So the question was, and the other issue being, the setbacks as proposed don't meet the minimum setback requirements for a sign from a public street. But that's also a PUD. So the question was, can the board receive an application for the monument sign only? And then would they, is that a modification to PUD, or can they, particularly what related to setbacks? And so that was the question.
That's a real good
It's a little complicated.
Yeah.
That's a real good question. I have to review the PUD to see if there was a substantial change. And I know we changed our PUD legislation, so it may be possible to just take the application. A PUD has its own setbacks and all that.
Right.
Which are granted when they grant the PUD, so it might be possible. I could take a look at that one.
Okay.
But that is
My understanding is they're handling it similarly to the ones they're proposing. But I don't know, I think that might be a PUD over there as well, but they're proposing on both sides of the project.
I thought there was something in the town of Clay on that project. And Clay said no.
no, that was the
driveway.
It was a driveway.
I don't think they've been before them for the sign yet. I think they will be. But that was the question. So I just looking to give them direction on which way to proceed.
So have you got that direction?
I think Neil's going to review the
I'll-
meeting.
I'll-
Review the meeting.
I'll kick that up to my brother. But
No, we needed an answer.
I dodged that.
No, we'll get to it. Anything else?
No.
Any other?
I'm good.
Mark? No? Lisa, your last night. Thank you
Yeah,
for coming in again. And
You're
helping
welcome.
Cindy through her first formal night.
she did great. She's fine.
Good job.
Mhm.
Board members?
I have a couple questions. I'm not totally clear on who, all right, the town board chooses who the ad hoc would be and/or if we add, correct?
The town.
Okay. How do we as a board, a planning board, convey to them our opinion or choices or whatever at their meeting or
Well, you
through the minutes of ours?
You could have a resolution and say, we would like to see this person, or we recommend, but it's not a recommendation that they have to listen to, and it's not part of the process, or generally speaking, it's generally done with a simple discussion. But,
Well, they
They have a
have a
public
public hearing.
yeah.
Public hearing is next
No,
week.
I meant to give your opinion of who it should be with the town board. I mean, they can just fill that vacancy.
I think there's two things we're talking about. One's the appointment of the ad hoc member, and then input on that the board may have, and the other is the expansion of the board and 7 people.
Well,
So I was back on the expansion of the board.
I plan on speaking at the public hearing on my opinion on the expansion. That's the only thing that I think I have input on. We don't have input on who sits up here. That's definitely, you know, if they want to show us these and then they want us to make a recommendation, we can do that. But in the past, it has not been the board's purview, right, to look at who's, well, up till now, we haven't had this kind of process put in where they actually have applications sent in. That's a new situation in the last year or so. So we never knew who that person was going to be until they were appointed.
Until it's revealed.
I have the advantage of having sat on the town board for 12 years, right, in making these appointments, and then sitting on this board. And I really respect that line that Neil talked about. It's their right. And
I'm just asking for clarification because I don't know, you know, what the exact procedure would be. And my opinion is, I want people to know what my opinion is. It doesn't have, I'm not saying it's coming from the board, but as who I am, I'm asking where do I present that at their board meeting, I'm assuming at public.
Is that for the 7 members?
Yep.
7 members and or just my opinion, or if we're allowed to, on who they may choose. I'm asking that
I
question.
wouldn't go there.
You can speak at the
Okay.
public hearing. You
Yeah.
can call
Yeah.
the supervisor, send them an email. Yeah, you can certainly speak your mind at the public hearing.
That's right, what was the discussion?
All right. Thank you.
Done? Good. We have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second? I'll second.
We'll
Meeting
all
adjourned.
stand up and leave.